642 things to draw. Prompt number 6. And for today's prompt, we have 2. Awesome. They are luminescent plankton. Oh, it's already going to be a weird one. And beneficial bacteria. Oh, man. I don't even know how to start this one. Let's just sketch something. So the first thing I thought about with luminescent plankton was, of course, Plankton from SpongeBob. And I didn't really want to draw Plankton, like the character, so I just tried to draw what I thought a regular plankton looked like, and it kind of looks like an amoeba or an eyeball or something. So I went back to Plankton, just drew a little glowy light around him, and then thought, luminescent is sort of like a light bulb, right? So maybe I can have a bunch of little light bulbs or something? Yeah, I hated that idea too. So here's me trying to draw out bacteria, and I made it into what Plankton the character looks like, and it was too weird and creepy, and I hated it. So I looked up what beneficial bacteria is, and they're sort of like probiotics and stuff that are in yogurt. So I was like, plankbiotics? And then thought about Plankton as like this superhero, but he can like shoot out light or something from his eyeballs. So that's what this is. And then it just looked a little bit more like a supervillain, and I didn't really want to do that. So I looked up more beneficial bacterias and learned that they're in a bunch of different things, like beer even. So I'm like, cool, beer bottle. I could do that. Like, I can make something fun. I put a little ship in a bottle because I thought about that idea, and then I got plankton around it, and yeah, I went with something sort of like this. So for this prompt, because I needed something luminescent, I thought maybe I should use black paper, and I had quite a few perfect materials for this, so that's why I went with some darker cardstock. And it's cardstock, and you'll see me later using watercolor on it, which was not the best idea, but it kind of worked. So here I am just sketching out a beer bottle, or just any kind of bottle. It's just specifically beer because it has beneficial bacteria in it. See how I got that prompt to work in this? Yeah. I'm also just using a Crayola white colored pencil to do most of the sketching. And that marker I used before, it's just a chalk marker, and it shows up really well on this paper, so that's why I used it. And I had this idea, maybe there's like a bottle that's sinking down into the ocean, and that's why there's like bubbles going around it, because it just like splashed in, and that way I could get some of the water going into the bottle so it wasn't completely full, just to add a little bit more interest into this piece. And so here I am using a white paint pen marker that I recently picked up from Hobby Lobby, and I really like this thing. So I'm just coloring in these bubbles, and this marker occasionally would pick up some of the black paper, so I'd have to like clean it off, which was really weird to me, but it wasn't that bad. Next, I'm using this Dr. P.H. Martin's Iridescent ink, and it's just in white, and when I tested this, it worked out well. And then, when I decided to move on to this illustration, it decided, I don't really feel like working the same way, and I don't know why. Part of me blames the pen nib that I'm using, because it's probably not the best of qualities. I mean, it's something good to start with, but I really think I like messed it up or something, so it just doesn't like to work the same way. But I did what I could with this, and you'll see I end up giving up on it later and switching to a paintbrush because it was just a lot easier. Also, if the lighting in this video is a little bit different from other prompts, I got 2 new lights, and I'm hoping they will help add some better quality lighting into future videos. So if it's not the best quality right now, I'm still figuring it out. So here's me using a blue iridescent, still Dr. P.H. Martin's Iridescent ink, and I switched to a paintbrush because it was just a lot easier. And then I added some of this blue to the bubbles, and this is supposed to be for like the luminescent plankton. When I was looking up pictures, it looked like these beautiful beaches at like nighttime, and there was this beautiful like glimmering blue shine on the ocean, and I thought that was really cool, so that's how I wanted to add it into this piece. So I was using the black paper, sort of like that dark ocean, like at nighttime, but the blue's supposed to be like the plankton really showing up. And it looks like it tends to gather around where things are. So like if someone's in the ocean, then the blue sort of gathers around them. I'm not entirely sure how all this works, but yeah, that was sort of my thought, was just adding the blue around the bottle just to make it look like the plankton's like interested, I guess, in it. Or maybe that's just, it glows when it touches things. I don't know. And here's me just adding like a little wave sort of thing, like the water going into the bottle. And here's where I think it adds visual interest, but it also destroyed the paper. I'm just putting water everywhere because I was like, oh, I can put this ink down, mix it with water, and it looks kind of cool when it spreads out. It was very pleasing, but yeah, the paper hated this, and it's just cardstock, so I don't blame the paper. It's definitely my fault. Like, there's no way this should have worked without warping the paper, so I don't know what I was expecting, but yeah. Yeah, the paper hated this, but I liked the effect, so I kept doing it. So at first I was just going to put this like blue glow down at the bottom of the paper just to keep up the interest, but I just liked how all this sort of like glittery sheen went onto the background. So I decided to add more throughout the rest of the piece, and realized after I'd gone as carefully as I could around all these bubbles, I could have just gone right on top of them. And yeah, I'm just making the bubbles and the bottle have like some lines going up, so it makes it look more like the bottle's falling into the ocean. And I think it worked okay. It's not my favorite thing, but it's not terrible. And yeah, I'm just adding in a bunch more of this ink, and it's really, really fun to just watch it sort of spread out and do its own thing in the water. And that I just kind of wanted to let it do its own thing since it is supposed to be in the water, that I don't want to make it look too controlled or too, like, quote, man-made, I guess. And I also thought with this piece, it just sort of adds this, I don't know, I guess interesting take on how we have these beautiful things in our planet, like our ocean, and all these really cool, like, luminescent plankton and stuff, and we just sort of trash it and throw our garbage into the water because we don't think it's a big deal. And as interesting as this piece might look visually, in real life, like, I don't support throwing trash into our water. Like, the ocean's a wonderful place, and it has all these really important creatures in it, and we shouldn't be destroying their home. So, as pretty as I might think this piece is, it also, I guess, is another prompt that has a deeper meaning that I really intended it to. Yay! Here's me trying to add in some more white to that wave of water going to the bottle, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I don't really draw much water or work with waves too often, so it was okay for an attempt. It wasn't the worst. But yeah, this was definitely my weirdest of the prompt series so far, with luminescent plankton and beneficial bacteria. So yeah, I hope you guys like this prompt. I know it doesn't really look like any of the other ones I drew because it doesn't have characters in it, but I really like using these materials. They're really glittery and shiny, and it was a lot of fun just using new materials and new paper. So I hope you guys like this one. Thanks so much for watching. Like this video if you like it. I guess don't like it if you didn't like it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me comments down below on your thoughts. And yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Do you want to see more shenanigans? Then check out these suggestions on your screen. Thanks so much for watching. Check back soon for some more shenanigans. Bye!